Podcasts don't need insurance, but tradies do. IMAR Insurance, the tradies mate, has been insuring Australian tradies for over 35 years. With competitive premiums, instant cover and no paperwork. That's the IMAR Insurance difference. Call an expert now on 13IMAR.
They're the tradies mate. That's IMAR.
Lovely hands and freed up Charlie, who should go and does.
Crashing through as Butters, sliced through them, and Gray kicks his third.
This is the SEN Breakfast Footy Review with Gary Lyon, Tim Watson and Kane Corns.
I look forward to it every single Monday morning. I see him wander down in his all-black outfit with his black shorts and his runners, having gone for a trot of about 48k over the weekend. Kane Corns in the studio to talk footy. Welcome, Kano.
Good morning, guys. Another interesting weekend of football, and I was at the Carlton game and watched them really closely, and I think they're probably for me the story out of it. If we're going to start there, which I would like to, they were so disappointing.
Did you tip them?
I did.
You tipped Carlton to be on. Okay, so let's rewind then, because you're a good, smart footy man. Why did you tip Carlton?
So the only one I got wrong over the weekend. I got 8. I got the Giants. I got the Giants.
Nice
I
answer.
got Fremantle Gaz. I got 8 out of 9. Bloody Carlton let me down of all clubs. So I picked them, and then I heard David Teague on your show, and I heard the quote. And this isn't a hindsight thing because I made comment of it
Yes,
on
you
the
did.
captain's run
I
on
heard
Friday. But
you.
can we just rewind and have a listen to David Teague on your show? I think it was on Thursday.
To win two and to stand play probably one of the premiership fancies is exactly what we're looking forward to. And look, we may not get the result. We'll go out there and what we need to do is play the way we want to play, bring the right intent and see where we're at. And we feel if we do play our way and play with that intent and conviction that we will win the game. So that's our challenge.
Well, they didn't either. So we may not win the game. No, well, you didn't win the game, but it's the way we go about it. Well, you didn't do that either. Give me something for David Teague is what I've said. And Gary, I know you were passionate about Carlton and put the test to them and challenged them on your show on Friday. I just don't see anything from this football club that gives me any pride in their performance.
Do you think? I think they've improved.
Tim?
No, I think they've improved from last year. Okay, if you look at those results against Richmond and Port Adelaide, okay, they're a 4 or 5 goal off the pace with, and I think we all believe that they're the best credentialed side in the competition now, right? Mm-hmm. I just wonder, though, are they building enough to get from where they have been to that next rung so that they can actually start to challenge for a flag? I don't think they're going to be challenging for a flag. I think they're improving, but I just don't know whether or not they're going to have enough improvement to actually be an elite team in the competition.
There's key areas of the game that you need to stand up. I think they're okay around the midfield. I think they're competitive in there. They win enough fair share of their footy. Defensively, they are so shaky and so flaky. And I think this is a personnel issue. Like, I can trust Wiedering. Who else can you trust in that back line, personnel-wise? I can't trust Jones yet. 6 possessions, coming off a good fortnight, was completely ineffective. I can't trust Dow. I can't Petrevsky-Seaton. And then
Doherty?
Doherty, probably, but hasn't been in great form. He has looked a bit shaky.
He had a very, very nervous game.
Yeah.
And I saw he got someone gave him the second best player for Carlton on the weekend, which I nearly
I didn't see it.
choked.
And then forward of the ball, like their delivery was the thing looked at that their delivery going forward was the difference between the two sides. So I just think there's key parts of their game that are breaking down.
They can't transition the footy.
Repeatedly.
They can't go from one end of the ground to the other. And
so
when you looked at the numbers and you go, okay, there's the problem. Then you look. I did the game as well. I was at the game. Then you watch the game. They continually get stopped halfway. So that puts pressure back on the defence, which is what Kane's talking about.
Are they playing the right game then that suits their personnel?
Well, they'd love to play. Most successful sides, and Port Adelaide struggled with this early in the year. They're a front half team. When you talk about that, is that the ball gets in there, doesn't come out. Melbourne have adopted that, which is why they're having some success at the moment. Port Adelaide didn't have that going for them. They got it back against Richmond and won. And so they would love to be, I think, that sort of side, because it takes pressure off your defence and you're able to set up and you can lock the ball in, all those things. But they're not, because they've got Eddie Betts there who's 33, 34 years of age. They got Mark Murphy in there who's not a great defensive animal. And then they got tools in McGovern and Casbolt that don't put defence on, pressure on in their forward 50. So all those things contribute. Mind you, Eddie Betts, this is my argument with them, Kane, and my criticism is there's no sizzle, there's no creative flair. The only time they looked super likely to score was when Eddie had the footy there for 5 or 10 minutes in the third quarter.
Levi Casbolt was their most dangerous forward for me, and that's saying a little bit. But Gaz, for you, so the point on David Teague, I hear that, and I'm so uninspired by that. I hear, the really strong coaches demand a performance and demand an effort, and then now I hear post game, we won the inside 50s, we were even in the clearances.
So what you're talking
behind
about,
the scenes, is he giving it to them like he needs to? Because I'm a Carlton fan and I hear all this positivity coming out on another performance and another year that looks like a failure. I'm a bit flat about it.
Are you saying that the players aren't being held accountable for their performances?
No,
Is that what you think?
But it says there's the public messaging and the private.
Yeah, they're different.
Yeah, well,
they can be different.
You'd hope they are.
Yeah.
That's the question. We don't know how hard he's driving this group privately, like how hard he's demanding, and that messaging that he gave us on Saturday. I hear it as well, but I didn't get as up in arms because you're saying that if you're a supporter, you're listening to it and you go, hang on, and I get that.
Gives you an out, I think. We may not win.
As long as it's not, it does for that's how your ears are, but from a playing point of view, if he's driving standards as hard as you hope he is through the year, then they're not thinking that's an out.
Okay, we don't know whether or not he does that behind the scenes, okay, because we're not privy to that. What we do know, though, is how they play. And to your point, Gary, the transition part of their game.
They don't kick it well enough.
Okay, so they went and recruited Sard and they went and recruited Williams. Do they now need to play Williams as part of their back six and fix up that part of their game?
Perhaps. Sard looked like he was hobbled. Sard he played on at one stage Hamish Hartlett, and the two of them couldn't get out of their own way. So he looked hurt to me, Sard.
He does. He has an interesting gait.
He's strapped up like Farlappy, like Paleface Adios at one stage with his knee. So I'm not sure, but anyway. Well, we'll move on from Carlton because in the end, Port Adelaide were really good. Port Adelaide were down Houston, I think, with their best kick inside 50. Then Hartley gets this corker. He can't run. Aliir was, I described him as Rance-like during the game. He was superb in that back half. They got, as I said, this 4-line going. Travis Boak gave you a lesson. We talk about taggers a lot with you. He gave you a lesson in how to handle a tag. Ed Kerno goes to him. He's got him, reasonably under control in the first 20 minutes because we know how dedicated Ed is and how aerobic. By the end of it, Travis had just run him into the ground and had 30, I think he had 30 plus.
29, I think. Yeah, so he went to Cripps for a bit and tried to disrupt and break the tag, and Kerno dropped it. So he's a phenomenal player and a great leader. But yeah, Port Adelaide is solid. I agree with you. I think Aliir right now after round 5 is your Australian centre half back.
Yeah, I don't disagree at all. And what a
Have we ever got to the bottom as to why Sydney rarely allow anything to leave their football club? In fact, any time anyone leaves Sydney, it is like a sensational story, because nobody ever wants to leave there. They don't ever want to usher anyone that they really love or want to keep out the door either. They never allow them to go. You have to go back through history to, not even recent history with Papley, that they didn't want him to go either. What is it about him that they didn't necessarily like or want to keep?
I don't know if we've ever got to. Ollie Wines was asked about it on ground after the game, and he said, I can't believe Sydney gave him up so cheaply. And they got him. It would be a bigger story if Sydney were struggling, wouldn't it? Like if Sydney were really struggling, we'd be talking about this a lot, but they're going okay.
Tom McCartan, I think, in the end, sort of half cushioned the blow. So McCartan goes back in that last 4 weeks and looks like a ready-made centre-half back. But we'll try and we'll ask the boys then to look up if there's any storylines on it. If you're Melbourne, so Melbourne are sitting on top, played who they've played. You can only beat who you played. They've got a great test coming up this Saturday night against Richmond. I watched a bit of the VFL yesterday. Sam Wiedemann kicks 7. Ben Brown kicks 3. They kick 8 goals in the last quarter. Bailey Fritsch maybe come back. Well, Fritsch comes back if he's fit enough to play. What do? At selection.
You watch them closer than any of us.
Yes.
What do, Gaz? So I'm going to put it back on you.
Yeah, okay. I'm not convinced I play either of...
None.
Wiedemann would be the one ahead of Brown. You just let Brown play. The basis of this Melbourne, they've got a lot there. Max Gawn yesterday was... I'm going to talk about that.
Yeah.
Their forward line pressure has been as much a trademark of what they've done this year.
They've found a balance, haven't they?
Yeah, they've been manic. So if you all of a sudden mess with that, which you would if you brought both in, obviously. So I think Wiedemann for Brown, Mitch Brown would be probably the only. But then you got May and you got Fritsch that might play. So
what's the rush to bring Ben Brown into the team anyway?
No, I don't think there is.
There shouldn't be a rush to bring Ben. In fact, there shouldn't be a rush to bring Wiedemann back into the side. They have to break the door down and force their way back into the team.
Seven's given it a good kick.
Yeah, that's right. But they have to. That's exactly what they have to do.
Yeah,
you don't get a free pass into a AFL
I don't
team.
think Ben Brown would be considered. I don't think he's. I think that's outside noise. Which is a good storyline. Ruckman don't play one-on-one, haven't for a long time. Ben McAvoy got the mother of all hiding yesterday. And this is how far footy's got. He had a period where he took 2 really good marks, and I thought, good. He's going to take this challenge on against Max Gawn. Max Gawn was as dominant a ruckman performance yesterday as you could hope to see.
Well, there's 3 standout rucks, but he's just elevated himself to one by a fair way. When you watch Grundy and Nat Nui, so they're the 3, and Gawn, what he does all over the ground, and I think because he has prepared himself so well physically and his aerobic ability sets him apart from the rest. And he just look at him and the way that he's prepared. Compare him to the work that influences with Nat Nui around the ground. Number 1 ruck in the game by a mile, and what a captain he's turning out to be.
I reckon the other part to all this too is the fact that you can put Luke Jackson into the ruck confidently as a backup, which gives you the option to play Gawn at different times where you think the matchup best suits you, because you don't lose a lot with Luke Jackson jumping at the ball.
That's the perfect model for me. A young ruckman with an experienced ruckman, and we've saw what it's done for English with Stephen Martin coming in. That is ideal. If you can have Jackson develop under Gawn with not the responsibility of going in the centre bounce, 15 times a game.
Lever was terrific. Magnificent. I thought yesterday, in the absence of May, and Christian Salen continues to put a career together, and Clayton Oliver, who people think, his consistency as a footballer from the time he played AFL football to now is almost unsurpassed. I'm talking about output. He's not the
effort
best,
you're talking about.
He's not the best player every week. He tries as hard as anyone as I've seen in recent times.
He plays hard every week.
Yeah, I'm not sure I've given him enough credit, Clayton Oliver. I might have to go and look at that. I think that's a very good point. Their opposition, Hawthorn, we spoke about it last week. 2 players, Gaz, under the age of 21 or 21 and younger. That was Moore and Jaff. They are 17th with a percentage of 77. 21-year-olds for other teams over the weekend. Freo 6, Adelaide 7, Sydney 8. North Melbourne 8. If you are 17th with a percentage of 77%, you need to be playing more kids.
Yeah. Well, it's going to be interesting from now, because I think coaching kept them in that contest yesterday. The way Alistair Clarkson coach kept it, he was trying to win 10 goals to 8, and it just broke in the end. So you're right, and that's what Hawthorn are going to have some pain. Their coaching will make it not look as bad as what it perhaps is.
It almost does them more harm, though, because they're in it, and you think, here we go. We're not that far away.
As long as they don't think that.
Well, I hope
You've got to have the kids to play, though,
I
don't
know,
you?
Tim, but that's
and
the point.
we know that they embarked upon a different way of going through a rebuild over a period of time and just sort of hanging in there.
So get rid of that now, I think. So that model has to go now. Let's go to the Adelaide, the Fremantle, the Sydney model of just getting as many draft picks as we can for a 3-year period and rebuild this footy club.
That's a slower build, isn't it? That is a slower build.
Yeah, the D's are going okay. They haven't been anyone. Hawthorn's an ordinary outfit. Pete from Narry Warren. Thank you, Pete, for stating the obvious. Kane Corns here, loose ball gets. Let's whip around the Western Bulldogs. Are they the premiership favourite right now?
Yes, they are.
Are they?
Yes.
Premiership favourite over Richmond?
Well, they're playing the best football right now, and their midfield is just what they are doing. They're off the chart numbers, the midfield. I'm not sure we've seen numbers collectively in the midfield like we've seen at the Western Bulldogs. So maybe defensively, we'll wait and see personnel-wise, but right now they have to be. They're the hottest team in it.
Can Lawrence Shackey force his way into that side, Gary? He's been playing particularly well at VFL level.
Ahead of Jamara Ugle-Hagen?
He's not playing so well at the moment. He's not setting the world on fire, but Lawrence Shackey is.
I think someone would need to be injured.
Josh Shackey.
Lawrence was his father, who's passed away. So, no, it's good to see. They might be able to fatten him up a bit.
Yeah.
And entice and attract some attention from elsewhere.
Possibly, yeah. Gaz, does Darcy Moore start forward or back on Anzac Day?
Yeah, we don't normally talk about it, do we, for Friday night games, but we need to, because I love what Collingwood did. I really did.
So did I, actually.
Everyone was sort of screaming at him, and I thought, will Bucks just get a bit pig-headed and go, nut. Well, there's genuine excitement when Darcy Moore went forward. I've heard some of the commentariat suggest that he can't play forward. That is just a nonsense. He kicked 5 goals in his first year. When his body wasn't right, he was sort of in and out of footy, and he didn't have this run at it, so he can play forward. They look great. When Brodie Grundy pushed forward at the same time, then I thought that's what we're screaming out for from Collingwood, something different. And they look great. Then they got injuries, and the West Coast got going.
Do they just wear it then now, Kane, that they're going through a mini rebuild Collingwood before our eyes, and they keep playing Keane back in defence, maybe Madgen as a...
Cameron, keep playing him. He looks good, and that does allow you the flexibility to put Grundy forward.
Will Kelly will come back, I think, in the next couple of weeks, and he's a really talented kid. He could play back.
They're playing a lot of 28-year-olds, so they need to work out which ones they think are going to be there in 3 years' time and when their next premiership is coming from. But at the moment, Bucks just has to do his best to remain competitive on a big stage with injuries he's got.
To both of you too, West Coast play a different style of footy to nearly anyone else in the competition.
Yeah.
Is that going to hold them in? It delivered a premiership once. They've stuck to it slavishly, which is credit to them. But is it going to hold them in good stead? This is an example. Richmond had a plus 500 metres forward handball forward 500 metres. At one stage on Friday night, the West Coast Eagles were negative 200. So they go back. They go back. Richmond go forward. Which one would you prefer?
Well, if you do it better than anybody else, then you're still capable of being successful doing it.
Does it stand up in finals, though? If you keep handballing back and then this pressure keeps coming like we see in finals, is it going to hold up?
Well, that's only at one part of the ground, though, isn't it?
Well, they're a backward handball team.
They go backwards. But when they get the ball from the midfield and they get the ball into their forward line quickly, they're as potent as anyone in the competition.
Which is a great dilemma.
That's right. They're going to back themselves to do what they do well. I thought Gaff going into the midfield, inside the midfield. We normally see him play out in the wing, but what he did on Friday night and the fact that I think Redden is still a really underrated player for the West Coast Eagles.
Sheed as well. I like different coaching, so I like that he's not trying to be Richmond.
Yeah, I do too.
Who would I rather? Well, I'd rather Richmond style, particularly with what we saw. But if they can do that effectively, it is frustrating for the opposition not to have the footy in their hands.
You got Oscar Allen, you got
Darling.
Kennedy.
I'm going to go wider. You got Oscar Allen, you got Norton, you got Georgiades who's playing. There'll be others just over King, both Kings. Who are you taking? Who's the best young key forward going around right now?
If I could have the pick, I'd still go Max King. I would. And if you put Max King into West Coast side, and he's just a couple of years younger than Oscar Allen, I think his athletic ability, he just could be anything, Max King.
The only thing I have a query on with the King is their hands, but Oscar Allen has already displayed to me that he's got great hands and the ability to clunk it.
He's the third one, though. King's getting the best one every week.
Yeah, that's true. That is true.
Isn't that an interesting point, isn't it? This is the sliding door stuff that we talk about all the time. Oscar Allen gets drafted to a team where he has to play as the number one forward. How does he develop? Does he develop in the manner that he has behind Kennedy and Darling?
Can I take someone else ahead of all those, though?
I know who you're going to say.
I'm going to take Norton ahead of all those.
Handy type, isn't he? A very handy type.
The Giants, have we, in the space of 2 weeks, have they gone from being a dour, boring side to potentially one of the more exciting teams in the competition by playing their kids?
By default. Almost
by default.
De Boer goes out, Davis goes out. There was others that are a bit older that get some youth in there. Massive couple of weeks for Leon Cameron. Massive.
And I give Nick Revolt credit. 2 weeks ago when we were talking about them on the couch, there was doom and gloom and they'd lost all their injuries and they're playing poorly. And he said this might be the best thing that ever happened to them because they got all this talent sitting there and hadn't used it. Now they had no choice. And it has. It's played off beautifully.
And it's super talent. Like we talked about Carlton. Carlton would... They would love to have the young talent that Leon Cameron and the Giants have got at their disposal. Ash, Taylor, Buckley, Green, Cumming, Bobby Hill, O'Halloran, Stone. There's a host of kids, and they can all play. Like, they can actually all play this game, and some of them are only in their first or second years of AFL football.
We can get back there. We've only got Kano for a couple more minutes. I want to get your thoughts quickly on Essendon and Brisbane. Do you just put a line through it given the conditions, or is this what we're going to see from Essendon? Big dips and troughs.
Up and down, yeah, that's what we will see, particularly away from home, those conditions. Brisbane, good to see them back on track. Love Joey Danaher's game as well. A bit more freedom playing with that and high disposals, but Essendon's just going to be one of those years.
And what about St Kilda? So you want to talk about draws. I look at their draw, and it's hard now. It gets harder And guess what? It finishes even harder.
So we spoke a little bit about David Teague. Brett Radden's probably gone the other way, but there's almost only a couple of times you can pull that lever. He's gone embarrassing. He's gone, we're at danger of falling off the face of the earth, and we're at round 5.
But I'm not dropping Brad Hill.
And I'm not dropping Brad Hill. I wonder if that will change after he reviews the tape over the weekend. But
do you find that extraordinary that he would say that so categorically?
Do I find it? Yeah,
I know it's showing faith in a player, but what does it do to the rest of the group when somebody gets that sort of free card like he's getting at the moment, or get the free go at it like he's getting?
I was surprised that he said, I mean, it's tough after a game when you haven't watched it, but we'll wait and see. He just needs to work harder.
He's a back your player in coach. 40 seconds. Geelong, North Melbourne, learn anything?
No.
Didn't learn anything? North Melbourne going better.
Yeah, but that's what you want to see from them, being competitive and staying in games for longer. They did that.
Adelaide, Freo, that's a bad loss for the Crows.
Bad loss for the Crows. Freo, terrific. What about David Mundy's form? I mean, he's going to be the story. At 35 years of age, and what he's doing.
Going to be one of the big stories this week.
He was
5 for Mundy, got him over the line.
I had down here, is he the best kick in the competition?
He's in the top 3 going inside 50, yes. He was extraordinary.
Been a joy.
Good on you guys.
Been a joy. It's a torrid half an hour. We get through as much as we can.
I'm sweating.
We'll do it again next Monday. Thanks, Kano. Lockie Neal back to his very, very best. I just wonder how much that back's been hampering him in the lead up to the season and during the early stages, but he was brilliant on the weekend. He joins us. Go, Lock.
G'day, Gaz. Tim, thanks for having me.
Good to talk to you, mate. 38, back and getting your hands dirty again. I mean, I know you're not looking for an excuse because you're not that sort of person. We know that. But every player that has got different issues to deal with and we all don't know about them. So it must have been a bit frustrating to have to deal with a little niggle early in the piece.
Yeah, it has been a frustrating start, but I think that sort of sums up our season as well to date, apart from the weekend. And it probably flows on from my game as well. To be honest, probably wasn't able to compartmentalise the issue as well as I have with other issues in the past. And to be brutally honest, let it affect my mindset and probably my psyche throughout the week, and then wasn't able to deliver on the weekend. And it's a small sample size, but I thought I was able to do that through the week last week a lot better and go out and play my role on the weekend. So step in the right direction, but I've got to back it up now and keep going with it.
How debilitating has it been, Lockie?
Debilitating enough that I haven't been able to train anywhere near as much as I would like. And then on game day, I've felt pretty good. I've obviously had some help medically to be able to get through some games, but once I put my hand up and once I'm out there, I don't feel that sort of stuff. And I've had issues in the past and been able to work through them a lot better than what I have the first few weeks. So there's no excuse. I just haven't performed.
And just, I don't want to harp on this, but are you over it now? I mean, do we read into your performance at the weekend that you're getting better again or not?
Yeah, I'm getting better every week, definitely, in terms of pain. And last week I was able to do training basically for the first time in a while. So I've still got some recovery to go, I suppose you call it, but I'm feeling a lot better than a few weeks ago. So I think I'm over the hump. But as I said, that's one game, which is a small sample size. So I've got to back it up against Carlton and beyond this week. And that doesn't mean I have to go out and get 38 possessions every week, but I've just got to play my role and play with intent and a bit more enthusiasm and passion as well. So that's what I'll be looking to do this weekend.
Did it feel more like the Brisbane Lions of 2020 yesterday on the weekend, rather?
Yeah, it did. Yeah, absolutely it did. We were back to playing a lot more selfless as well as a team, and that's just little things like chasing and pressuring when we've probably not been doing it. Giving those first gives, just little things like that we probably haven't been as sharp as in the first 4 weeks. And I thought it really showed in our game and our ball movement, and our energy out there was a lot higher than what it has been in the first month.
Joe Danaher, very good at the weekend, finished with 25 disposals and 2 goals, moved further up the ground. Is this still sort of a wait and see as to how you position him and Hipwood, and a work in progress, do you think, Lockie?
Yeah, they're still gelling and figuring each other's games out and where they best fit in our forward structure. But I think they've done a pretty good job. Our supply from our defenders and especially midfielders hasn't been great for them. So it's been hard for them to figure it out with the way the ball's been coming in, and it hasn't been coming in enough. So they're still figuring it out. But I thought the game on the weekend really sort of emphasised Joe's talent and what he can bring to this footy club. So, it was great to see him against his former side. It was a really good day for him.
Hey, Lockie, you won the Brownlow medal last year, and I just wonder, with all that and the attention that goes with it, and then maybe the way you feel about your own game, is there a tendency to want to go out and play like a Brownlow medalist the year after you win the Brownlow medal? Is that something that has been there on your mind as well?
Not really, to be honest. No, I don't think about too much of that stuff leading into games or into a season. I think that other guys might feel a little bit of pressure about that, but being up in Brisbane, I don't really hear about what I achieved last year too much, and I've got great people around me that keep me really grounded and focused on the task at hand. So that doesn't really enter my mind at all.
You don't put extra pressure on yourself?
I put extra pressure on myself to perform and play my role, absolutely, but not because of what I've achieved in the past. It's a new season and it's irrelevant. So for me, I put pressure on myself to not let my teammates and coaching staff down more than any of that stuff.
With the reigning Brownlow medalist Lockie Neal, who just he blitzed them on the weekend with 38 against the Bombers. You had Mark O'Connor in round 2. You're dealing with the issues that you've spoken about already, but he did a good job, so I know you give him credit there. Did anyone go to you clearly? Well, if they did, they didn't stick too close to you on the weekend. Not early. I think even Ben Rutten said it in his post game. They put a first-year player to me, maybe late in the third quarter or something, just to give him a bit of experience, just around stoppage and whatnot. But it wasn't really a hard tag at all. So Archie Perkins, it was kid with a lot of talent. So I had a brief chat to him after the game, and he said it was a good learning experience for him as well. Fantastic. Hey, we always say with our audience, Locke, that they're the smartest sports audience in the world. And someone's suggesting here off our temper text machine that Daniel McStay's just so critically important for this footy club, and to get him back in with Darcy Gardner is it's a nice when you get all those players who perhaps the rest of the footy world look at and go, oh yeah, they're okay, but they maybe mean more to the those on the inside. Yeah,
definitely. Dan's super critical for our structure and our forward line leadership as well. He sets up the guys really well. He's got a great understanding of the game and what needs to be done with that forward line. So he's a crucial piece to our puzzle. And Tom Fullerton was in for the first few weeks, and it was great to see him get a run. And he's got a lot of talent. He's going to put on size and strength and be a great player for us for a long time. So he was the one that unfortunately came out for Dan, but having him back was super important for our forward line, absolutely.
And have you had a look at the Blues yet? I know you're a bit of a footy nerd and a bit of a footy nut. You like to follow the games pretty closely. Did you take a look at them at the weekend or not? I know you would have been playing at that time that they were playing on Saturday night, but have you sat down and had a look at them yet?
I've watched a couple of their games earlier, but yeah, as you said, I think their game was on at exactly the same time as us, so I haven't seen too much of the weekend's game, but they can be really dangerous. I actually went to Marvel when we were stuck in Victoria and watched them against my old team, Fremantle, and they were really impressive that day. They had it going there at Marvel. So, I've watched a bit of them, and yeah, they can be really dangerous when they're on. So we've got to prepare for their best, and they play Marvel really well too. And last time we played them there, they got us in 2019.
Hey, Locke, before we let you go, the AFLW girls got it done, delivered the Premiership Cup. That must have been a fantastic feeling for the whole footy club, and I hope you steer clear of their Mad Monday celebrations today.
Yeah, I know. I need to steer well clear of them. They'll be running the town the next couple of weeks. So it was great to see them get a win. It's fantastic for our club, as you said, and even our VFL team had a really good win as well. So it was a great weekend for the for the footy club, and the men's side now, we've just got to back it up and keep going. But yeah, it was great for the girls to get over the line. I know they've lost 2 grand finals, I think it was previously, so third time lucky for them.
Fantastic. Hey, you're great to our program. Every time we call you, you're keen to jump on and have a chat, and we love having a chat with you. So well done on the weekend, and good luck for the rest of the year.
Thanks, guys. Thanks for having me.
Lockie Neal there.
Love listening to our selection of podcasts and latest sporting news? Then jump onto the SEN app and test drive our snackable sporting news podcast, SEN Sports Update, all thanks to Car Sales. Carsales.com.au, Australia's #1 car website.